setting new standards in podcast excellence. You have joined the WBT, fully focused on business and taxes. Here is your host, Michael Lodge.
And hello, this is Mike Lodge on the WBT. Glad that you joined me. It's always good when I'm able to sit down with you, talk a little bit. Today our discussion is going to be about this day that we call Memorial Day. Some memories of mine with my father, served in World War II. Listen, I'll be right back, okay? Listen, every crisis, there has to be mediation. There's conflict, there's disputes. If you need help in your business, let me know. Send me a text at 818-252-5682. I'm here to help you.
World of Business and Taxes on WBT.
So today in South Florida, it is rainy. The rain is coming down. We've got some notices of some flooding that might happen. But it is a rainy day. And now, the problem with that is that I love rainy days. It reminds me of a kid growing up in Seattle, Washington. And we get a lot of rain up there, I'm telling you. This rain's a little bit different because it's a warm rain. That's a hard thing to say. Warm rain. It's very humid outside. It's about 75 degrees outside at the moment. But I enjoy the rain. I like the greenness that it creates. And I love that it washes everything away and makes everything clean again. So today's Memorial Day, and it's that day that a lot of things get said, things get done, people meet, people go to the grave sites to visit their loved ones. That's what it's called, Memorial Day, so that we remember the stories of these people. Everybody has a story. Everybody has this life that accomplished so much, maybe was a failure, maybe they built something, maybe they had a family, maybe they went to war, maybe they were killed, maybe they came back safely. Everybody has a story, and it's told every single day. We remember it every single day. Those of us who have lost people in battle, remember. We remember that day we got the call, or they came to visit us on a personal basis. We remember this. That's one thing that we have to really say thank you to everyone who serves in our military. And those who have lost people, don't forget, we still remember. We still pray for you. We're there for you. And as a nation, we're united during the toughest of times. Maybe it doesn't seem that way at the moment when we're trying to fight a virus, but it's become very political. Where people are not really worried, especially politicians, are not really worried about the American people, but how they look, how they sound. And everything becomes political. Everything that is said and done is pointing fingers or all this other stuff. But we as a nation, we're united. We will get through any battle that we have to face. We will get through it. Got through World War I and World War II. We got through the Civil War. We got through the We got through the Battle of Independence. We got through it all. We really did. And today we stand as a nation. We stand very tall. We're very, very strong, even though we see all this infighting and everything. When a crisis comes, we attack the crisis and we get done with the crisis and we move on. I think that reminds me of my dad. He went off and served in the Second World War in Germany. He was proud to serve the military. He was in the army. But he never wanted to talk about it. When he came back, I literally had to drag it out of him. But the only three things that I remember coming from his story, from this war, that it was an evil war against an evil person in Germany who was trying to take over the world, basically. Father was out on maneuvers one day. They were going through the countryside of France. And there were some shots fired at them, coming from a farmhouse down below. My dad shot down. Then they went down to see what caused the shooting. And there was a teenage girl. German. Over in France. The only other thing I remember him telling me about is when he was coming over from the war from Germany. He was placed outside on the deck of a ship because he had been shot. He had the German bullet in his leg. And he had been shot. A lot of pain. But the war was over and they were on their way back to the United States to get healed at the hospital. They didn't have any space inside the ship, so he had to be on the outside of the ship, tied down. Then a few years later, when he decided that he needed some VA help because he was in a lot of pain. A lot of pain. Went to the VA and his name wasn't there. Back then in the 50s, 40s and 50s, everything was done by paper. Nothing was computerized back then. So paperwork was easy to get lost. But for years and years and years, he had to fight with the VA trying to prove who he was and who he served. All the pictures in the world of him being in the army, in the war, they cut it because there was no paperwork to tie him to. Amazing, isn't it? Everybody has a story. Some don't want to talk about this story too much because it brings back too much pain. And others want to tell their story so that you understand what that pain is all about and what they fight for and what they die for, what they get wounded for. Because we always forget that they're fighting for us. No matter what part of the world they're in, they're fighting for our security. And they're fighting against the bad guys. And they're fighting for our nation. And we always forget that. I remember, as a young kid, during the Vietnam War, the soldiers were treated very badly when they came back to the U.S. after the war. They were spit on. Bad words were shot their way. I remember one time in Seattle, on the 4th of July, I was in a marching, not a band, but a marching cadet type formation group. And On the float that was behind us were 4 soldiers that had just gotten back from Vietnam. I heard boos in the crowd in Seattle against those soldiers, even though that they had just gotten back fighting in the name of the United States. Disgusting. Very sad. We remember these things on this Memorial Day because so much has happened in our nation where some of it was good and some of it was bad, and some people didn't agree with the politics of the war. Some people didn't believe in the war. Some people didn't. And we could go on with a whole bunch of lists, right, of what people don't like. But we always forget about that one thing, is that those men and women who go out there every single day on the line in full uniform with their weapons on them, they're fighting for us, you and me. And we tend to forget that every single day. Now, we can disagree about what they're fighting for, why they're fighting. But those young men and women, when they go to battle, when they're on duty, they're serving in the name of you and me. Serving in the name of our military. Serving in the name of our nation. And they go by orders. They don't get to decide of what their political beliefs are. They go and serve. And they follow orders. And they do what they're told. Even if it means to go into the line of battle with bullets and rockets whizzing by them. Excuse me. But they go. They go on the blind faith that the American government is going to back them up. That the American people are standing beside them. But we selfish human beings are sitting over here in our nice, warm, and cool houses that we have while they fight, and we become political, and we blame it on them, and it's not their fault. Most of the time, it's politicians' fault. It would be nice to bring everybody home, right? That's the argument. Let's bring everybody home. The problem is that we've got so many hotspots in this world that need American help because we are the best of all nations. And we have to be there. Even though we have a lot of good arguments to bring them home, the strongest argument is that they need to be there to protect our nation, protect you and me. On this Memorial Day, we have got to put our selfishness aside, and we've got to say, you know what? I'm so thankful for our military. I'm so thankful for those who serve, for those who have died, for those who were wounded, and for the families who stood beside them all the way through their battles. They come back with mental health issues because war is hell. Let's be honest with ourselves. War is hell. And what it does to our mental ability sometimes creates a lot of pain. That's why there's so many suicides in the veterans. Because of the pain, the mental pain, the anguish, the hurt. The living and cause of death. Because they're soldiers. They're not priests, they're not reverends, they're not accountants on that battlefield. Well, I guess I have to take that back because some of them do serve in the reserves and have to see battle. So there are accountants out there. There are reverends. There are doctors, nurses, janitors, executives, all kinds of people who are serving on the battlefield for you and me. It's amazing. It truly is amazing who that individual is that goes down to the recruitment center, who raises his right hand, swears to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States, puts their life on the line. Sometimes they come back, sometimes they don't come back. But they do it because they're dedicated to this country. So on this Memorial Day, I hope that you go out, if you can, or sit at your home and remember that we have some really damn good people who have served this nation every single day, and we owe them a thank you. If you see a veteran today, if you see a military person today, or if you know of somebody in your family who has served this nation, you pick up that phone and you say, thank you. Thank you. Everybody go out and have a great Memorial Day weekend. Remember, they served our nation for us. It's an amazing thing. This is Mike Lodge. I'll talk with you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the WBT with Michael Lodge. Join us again tomorrow as we explore more about business and taxes. Follow us on iHeartRadio and go to our podcast website at www.wbtpod.com and listen to all of our podcasts and read our blogs.
This podcast has been produced by Michael Lodge, fully focused on content.